G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Now if you've been keeping a close eye on my channel, you know that I've been reviewing a lot of VR headsets lately. That includes the HTC Vive Pro 2 and also the Vive Cosmos Elite. Now this one came out in 2021 and this one came out in 2019, so there's 2 years between them. However, I thought it was worthy of a closer head-to-head between these two. In Australia, you can pick this up for about $21.99 and this one's $16.99. So there's a fair price difference. So you've got to wonder, is this one still in the game? Can it still deliver something that's worth your money? As you might expect, given the variance in the price and the 2-year gap between them, there's a fair difference between the specs of these two headsets. But rather than you having to watch me look at a screen, I'm just going to throw to some B-roll and read out the specs. So the Cosmos Elite has a 1440 by 1700 pixel LCD screen. It's got 2 of those screens. Whereas the Pro 2, that's 2488 by 2488. So it's a fair leap up there with the Pro 2. With the Cosmos Elite, you're looking at 90 Hz refresh rate. With the Pro 2, it's 120 Hz. So again, quite a step up there. The Cosmos Elite has 110 degrees, but if you see my review of that, you know that I think that's quite nerfed as a field of view. Whereas the Pro 2, again, 120 degrees of field of view, and it's a better field of view as well. So that's a bit better there. The IPD range on the Cosmos Elite is 61 to 73 millimeters. On the Pro 2, it's 57 to 70 millimeters. So same kind of distance, but a bit lower in the spectrum with the Pro 2. And what the Pro 2 also has is much better audio and mic. The setup is the same, which means it's a pain in the ass between the two of them because you have to set up the base stations, you have to have all your PC that's tethered, that has to be updated, your controllers have to be updated, you have to have SteamVR working, Viveport working. You've got to mount your base stations up on the wall, put them on tripods. The setup for both of them is a pain, but it is the same between both of them. So there's no win or loss there. And they use the same controllers, so you're getting the same base stations for the most part, although this does ship with just the base station 1 version, with base station 2. It doesn't necessarily impact the tracking, it's just a bit harder to set the base station 1s up because there's a bit more you have to think about in terms of your negotiation of line of sight and how they're looking at each other and the amount of space you can actually use. But the actual tracking and the controllers that you're holding in your hands are more or less the same. So the variance there isn't too big, it's just on those raw specs of just resolution and refresh rate and field of view. Well, let's quickly compare the design of the two of them, and obviously they come from the same family here, so they're going to be pretty similar. You can have a quick look there side by side. You might be able to tell just how much more padding there is on the Vive Pro 2. It's definitely a more comfortable headset, and it also has better balance. So you've got, this one just feels a bit front heavy, so you tend to tighten the back strap a little bit more, which just puts a little bit more pressure on it. Whereas with the Pro 2, it just sits a lot more comfortably all around. But they both don't have any light bleed of concern, which is good. But overall, the Pro 2 is just a much sexier headset in my opinion. There's a lot more going on here, and you're looking at a smaller footprint really as well. The major advantage over this one as well is the audio. As I mentioned, this has much better speakers and mic than you get with the Cosmos Elite. For obvious reasons, there's 2 years between them, but just the design of this is way better. It's just much easier to get this over your ear and get good sound out of it, whereas I find this really flimsy, hard to negotiate where you want it, and just doesn't deliver the best sound anyway. But design-wise, definitely also the Pro 2 is just a couple of years worth of feedback and design, and it pays off. When you're actually in the game world and comparing the performance of the two ones, yes, of course, as you'd expect, the Pro 2 is the better of the two. It's not so much about the resolution, because I think that the resolution and the actual quality of the world looks really good on the Cosmos Elite anyway. Like, there's no screen door effect here, just as there is no screen door effect here. It's not so much that, it's more that you get better value out of your field of view here. So this one has a bit more of a periscope view. You can kind of see more of the black kind of gasket around your eyes. It's a bit more caved in, whereas this is just a bit more open, and that actually makes a big difference when you're in these VR worlds. So that's definitely a pro there for the Pro. As mentioned earlier, the audio is a lot better, and I also found with these screens as well, the contrast is better. You just get a bit more, it's a bit lighter and more poppier in the same scenes. Like I was playing Half-Life Alyx and I switched from one to the other, and this one just felt a bit darker. But in terms of the actual visual experience, it's not massively different. It's just that field of view just really does make an impact. So the Vive Pro 2 then is absolutely the better headset of the two, but because of the price difference, the Cosmos Elite does come back into the mix. It's not tragically worse than the Pro 2. You're still going to get a really good solid VR experience here. I just feel that this is really due a price drop. Or at the very least, they could start bundling this with the newer base stations 2.0 and the newer Wand controller, and just kind of give this a bit more pop for the value. If you can find this at a bit of a discount, and there are bargains around, if you can get it for around that 1200 mark in Australia, and you're looking at a good saving on the Pro 2, you're still going to get a really good experience. So it's kind of worth considering in that regard. But if you can't find it at that price, then the upgrade to the Pro 2 is probably worth the money, because it is significantly noticeable, especially in those long gaming sessions. I'm Chris Stead from Finder. Thank you very much for watching my comparison of the Vive Pro 2 and the Vive Cosmos Elite. Now make sure you check out my other videos on the VR channel, or on the YouTube channel about VR. And also make sure you head over to the finder.com.au website, because I go into much bigger detail in my written articles over there. So until next time, happy gaming, see you later.